of you have a person in your life who is a joy, who is a light? Show of hands. For me, that was my grandma, my babulla. My grandma was a maverick. She was a trickster. She would hold court in the apartment complex and ask who was dating whom. She would put on her lipstick just like Marilyn Monroe would in one foul swoop. She would put a little bit of Bailey's in her coffee. This woman did everything wrong according to modern health. She would have the second helping of ice cream. She never fasted. And yet, she lived a full life of 93 years. So clearly, she had something right. Something that maybe we don't know enough about. And I think I know what that was. She was an addict. She was an addict for the drug of love. The drug that we call oxytocin. Now, I too was an addict. I started my career full of cortisol, full of stress. I'll get back to that. I started my career in management consulting. It was full of stress. I was in the office at 7 in the morning, coming back at 10 at night. I was flying here and there. I felt kind of cool. And I had points that I could gift to all of you. That part was nice. But I was full of stress. I remember this one project that I had. It was awful. I was responsible for closing down an office. I was the Bob and Bob from Office Space. So what is it that you say you do here? I was responsible for sucking out the information from your head so that then I could give it to my boss and we could shut the office down. Needless to say, it was soul-sucking. And my boss, when I came to him and said, get me off of this, said, yeah, I know it sucks, but just give it a couple more months, and then I'll put you onto a good project. That carrot was always put in front of me, dangling, out of reach. And I thought, okay, well, I've got to offset the stress, so what am I going to do? I guess I'll go and run in the morning and run it off. How many of us have tried to run off that stress? It didn't work. At 23, I had an ulcer. My body was keeping the score, and I was failing because I had this badge of honor that I was so busy and so cool, and so my schedule was filled. Now, fast forward to 10 years later. I'm living here. I came here during COVID. I was supposed to be here for 3 months. 5 years later, I now know why. And that's not necessarily because of the salsa and the bachata and the surf, which is awesome. But it's because I'm not having that carrot being dangled in front of me. I'm actually enjoying it. Instead of drinking my cup of coffee on the train, on the BlackBerry, answering emails at 7 in the morning, this morning I was on the beach, enjoying. And I've seen how this helps other people. So I started bringing people down here for retreats. Now, the people that come for retreats, they're the old version of me. They're the ones that have busy lives. They're the bankers, the doctors. They're optimizing everything. And yet they want to come here because they want to know the science. And they get the science, sure. But they get something better. They get to hold hands with a new friend as they cross the river to get to the waterfall. They dance with our chef in the kitchen. They get to hear the coconut man say, Dios te bendiga. May God bless you. They feel community. They feel love. They feel joy, which they may not be feeling so much because they're so busy. So they go home, and they're again back to the optimized schedule, the minute-to-minute things, one meeting, other meeting. They go to the gym, they have their headphones on, they have the podcast going. They're optimizing their bodies as much as they possibly can, and yet they're disconnected. And this is not necessarily only happening with the 40 and the 50-year-olds who are coming for my retreats. Now we're seeing it with the 20-year-olds. I had a call recently where a lady said, would you be able to do something for my daughter? My daughter's 22. She has the boyfriend. She has the internship. She has everything going for her. And yet she feels low. She feels depressed. She doesn't know what to do. And why is that? It's because we're stuck in fear. We have fear everywhere. Is AI going to take over everything? Is my kid going to get into that school, into that college? Am I going to get the promotion? What's going to happen with the world? Fear is surrounding us all the time. And now, what's the offset to fear? What's the balance? It's what my grandma had. Oxytocin. It's what she was addicted to. The offset to fear is joy. The offset to fear is love. Now, maybe I've already lost some of you to say, okay, this is woo-woo. We're in Cabarete. It's all hippie. No. The science shows us that for every one negative thing, we need 7 positive things. And that helps to balance it off. 7 micro joys. 7 little moments. There's an idea of a hormone hierarchy. And the hormone hierarchy, think about it as like a triangle, a waterfall that cascades down. Dr. Mindy Pelz, who's a longevity doctor, talks about this. Hormones are these beautiful things that they make us feel, get hungry, be sexy, feel good, feel bad. The hormone hierarchy starts from the top, and we've got oxytocin right there. That cascades down. Cortisol is the next one. Then insulin, then the sex hormones, and also sleep, melatonin. So if you're thinking about it, as it cascades down, if you're sitting in cortisol like I was, or like my grandma was when she was living in the Soviet Union and had a little tiny piece of black bread like that to eat, when you're stuck in cortisol, it's going to affect your insulin. You want to have more sweets, right? It's going to affect your sex hormones. It's going to affect your sleep. But if you've got enough oxytocin, you can balance the rest out. How beautiful. How easy. Too easy. The problem is, oxytocin has a really quick half-life. So we need it every single hour. Just like a glass of water. You need a little bit of oxytocin, a little bit of joy every single hour. Now, how do you do that? You can dance. You can touch. You can eye gaze. You can feel connected. Oxytocin is the hormone of connection. Now, somebody might ask me, well, show me the study. Where's the study of oxytocin being what my grandmother had? Like I said, hormones, they move really fast. So I cannot show you that. But what I can show you is that the Harvard study of adult development, which has been going on since 1938, a long study, what they see is that the people who have connection end up having better health and longevity and happiness in the later years. So what is connection? Connection is oxytocin. So that's what. We need connection. We need oxytocin. We need that to be able to live longer. To be able to be like my grandmother, who was eating the ice cream and yet still was able to live till 93. Now, one thing that I haven't told you about, which is really easy to do, is a practice that fuels ourselves with oxytocin, and that is gratitude. Simple. Sounds too simple. And yet, it's been proven. So let's do an exercise with me, if you will, if you'd like. Close your eyes, if you feel comfortable. Take a deep breath in. And think about this morning. Think about how you woke up. Did you have someone give you a nice cuddle? Maybe it was a partner. Maybe it was a pet. Maybe you had a child scream to you, "Mom." Maybe it was just even thinking about coming to this event and you are connected with others. Longevity is not something where we should be thinking about getting to 120. We should be thinking about today. But in order to do that, we have to put on the rosy-colored glasses. You can open your eyes now. Thanks for joining. My grandmother, she did this. She fueled herself throughout the day with these little moments of oxytocin. So I beg of you, be that person in a space where we have AI and over-optimization, hyper-connectivity, and all this kind of stuff that we think. Be the person that slows down. Because that's the truth. That's the actual longevity. It's not about adding more supplements, getting more things in, and more peptides. That'll help. Sure, it will. But the thing that is really going to make the day feel longer is when we're in present, in the moment. And if we can teach this to our younger generation and do it also for ourselves, then we can be in a better place. My grandmother, when I called her, she would say, «Ты не беспокойся по моих болячке. Скажи мне, как у тебя дела?» She would say, «Don't worry about my aches and pains. Tell me, how are you doing?» She knew that her back pain, her mental pain, her emotional pain, that was not going to make her feel the day better and go to sleep better. She knew that she had to fill herself up with others. And so I would give her oxytocin, and yet she would give it right back. Because oxytocin is the drug of connection. It is the drug of unity. And so my question to you is, instead of adding all these new things, what if you slowed down? What if, just like you thought about that person who was that light in the beginning, right? That joy. What if you became that light for others? What if you filled up your day with so much joy that you then gave it to others? You gave that light to others. If you do, there's a bit of a warning label with this. You just might live a little longer, and so will that other person you're hanging out with.